Hi students, welcome back to another lesson. For today's topic, we'll be looking at plotting points on a graph. Now, plotting points on a graph is easy. Once it is that you remember how to identify the x and y coordinates and how to identify the coordinates of a point, then plotting points will be easy. If you have not watched that video on Introduction to Graphs, where I teach you how to identify points on a graph, I would advise that you do so before continue watching this video. Good. Now, for question 1, we're asked to plot the points 1, 3. Let's do a quick recap. Remember, when you're given a pair of numbers like this, the first number in the coordinates represents what value? X. Very good. That means that we can find that value on the x-axis. The second number in the coordinate represents the y value. That means that we can find that number on the y-axis. And the x-axis runs horizontally, very good, left to right. And the y-axis runs vertically. Now we're going to take a few easy steps. First, let us identify the x value. So let us identify 1 on the x-axis. Very good. So we put a circle around it. Then we identify 3 on the y-axis. Very good. Then we're going to just draw a line to see where the two numbers meet. So we're going to draw a imaginary line. You can trace an imaginary line through the number 1 on the x-axis and another imaginary line through 3 on the y-axis to see where the 2 points would meet. So let us trace the line. Okay, 1. We trace a line through 1 on the x-axis. We trace a line through 3 on the y-axis. So that point where the two lines meet, look at the point where the two lines meet. Yes, exactly. Very good. That's where the 2 points meet. And that's how we plot the point 1, 3. Let's do another example. It says, question number 2, plot the points -4, -3. That's -4, -3. Remember, the first step is to identify our x values and our y values. Remember, x comes before y in the alphabet. The x value comes before the y value in coordinates, in coordinate geometry. All right? So let us identify that -4 in the coordinates represents our x value. And the -3 represents our y value. So we're going to find -4 on our x-axis. Where is it? Very good. Now let us identify -3 on our y-axis. Awesome. Now, see if you can trace an imaginary line to see where they meet up. And I want you to pause the video and try this on your own. Trace a line to see where the imaginary line of -4 on the x and the imaginary line of -3 on the y would line up. Let's trace it. All right, -4, it runs from top to bottom. That line is not exactly on it. -3, so the point where they line up is awesome. Here we can see that's where the 2 points line up. So that is how we plot the point -4, -3. Let's try another example. Plot the points. This is number 3. Plot the points 5, 2 or 5, 2. All right. The first number in the coordinate represents our x value. So let us identify 5 on the x-axis. There we go. The second number in the pair of coordinates is found on the y-axis. So let us identify 2 on the y. Good. Then let us see if we can trace an imaginary line to see where the 2 points would meet. You start tracing to see where the 2 points would meet. Yep. That's where the 2 points meet. All right. And that's how we plot the points 5, 2. Let's take it up a notch. Let us try this question. -4, 0. All right. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to identify our x value and our y value. What's our x value? -4. Very good. What's our y value? 0. Now it's interesting. How are we going to notice, see where the 2 points meet? They're all lying on the same line. So what are we going to do? Because the two numbers are lying on the same line here, and we did not make any movement on the y-axis, the point will remain at -4. And you're wondering, how comes, Miss? We only moved along the x-axis and we did not make any movement on the y-axis, so we'll keep the point at -4. And this is what I used to remember. If there is a coordinate and the y value is 0, that means that we put the point, keep the point at the x. If we have a coordinate where the x value is 0, we keep the point on the y value. Let me further explain with this second example. Since the -4 is the x value and the y is the 0, we're going to keep our point at the -4. 0 means nothing, no movement, so we're going to keep our point at our x value. Number 6, look on the problem. The x value is 0 and the y value is -4. So since the x value is 0, that means that we're going to have to keep our point at -4 on the y-axis because there's nothing on the x, but there's -4 on the y. So that means that we're just going to keep our decimal point, or not decimal point, sorry students, we're going to keep our point at -4 because we did not move any at all on the x-axis. So no movement on the x, but we move to -4 on the y. So we're going to keep our point at -4. Again, 0 on the x, -4 on the y. Since the x is 0, we didn't make any movement. We're going to keep our point right exactly sitting on our -4. All right, and notice how they are in the same line from 0 to -4. In the previous example, we had -4, 0, and they were sitting on the same axis. And this is how we plot points, students. Remember, step 1, identify the x value as well as the y value. Step 2, find an imaginary line or draw an imaginary line to see where the two meet up. And step 3, you put your point. If you're working with zeros, just identify which axis is the 0 is on. If the 0 is on the x-axis, that means that you plot the point on the y-axis. If the 0 is on the y-axis, that means you plot the point on the x-axis. Alright, and this is how we plot points. We've come to the end of another lesson. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and share this video. Comment down below if it is that this video helps, so that I know how best I can revise my videos to help you. Alright, students, thank you and take care.